We're flying with Cessna 172 G1000 equipped aircraft. Glass cockpit environment, it's very similar to what the airliners fly with, and it's simply amazing compared to the conventional equipped aircraft. It's completely different because the instruments are displayed in the exact same manner as how the airlines are flying. From a student's perspective, it's actually easier because they have to scan less distance in between the instruments. It's very similar to how they're going to fly later on in bigger aircraft. They don't have to make this change from a conventional aircraft towards a glass cockpit equipped aircraft. The training in Portugal is quite different from the training in the north of Europe, simply because of the weather. It's a lot nicer. You will have many more flying days, the sun is always shining, and you will not lose as much time waiting for better flying days as you would do in the north of Europe. The airspace is a lot friendlier for us to train because we do not have to take into account that much traffic from busier aerodromes, and therefore we can concentrate more on the training part as well. With the FS equipped aircraft, we can actually get much more information out of the flights. We're loading our entire flight plans into the systems already up front, and we can keep on monitoring all flight parameters a lot better and easier as you would have to do with the conventional aircraft. And we have moving map capability. We can always see where we are at all times, and therefore we always have a better situational awareness. Together with the information that the system is providing us, you can conduct a much safer flight. As an instructor of Gestair, we get 6 students assigned to us as a maximum, and after getting to know each other better, we will start flying first the visual states of the course, which will allow the student to fly the aircraft actually without using the instruments, only with outside references. After finishing that part, the student will perform an internal flight exam, and from that moment he will be allowed to fly the aircraft by himself. He will start flying solo without an instructor on board as well. At the same time flying solo flights, he will also continue flying next stage, the IFR stage, where he will learn how to fly with instruments only. And afterwards, he will start navigating with those instruments. When the student is able to fly and navigate on instruments only, he will start flying trips to other aerodromes on instruments, and finally will conduct another exam in order to get his IR rating. Once the student finishes the visual states of the flight course, we will start flying the instrument states, and during the instrument states, the student will learn how to fly with instruments only and how to navigate on those instruments. Once the student finishes the visual states of flying and the instrument phase starts, we are going to try to fly the aircraft solely based on the instruments within the cockpit, so without using outside references. And states is over, and the student starts with their instrument phase, which is flying without looking outside, only using references from the cockpit. You will actually start learning to appreciate the Garmin 1000 system, the glass cockpit environment, because with those screens we have a huge situational awareness around us that we wouldn't have had with the conventional equipped aircraft. A typical day would be to arrive at school at 8:30 in the morning, discussing what's the goal for today's flight, and we're going to brief more or less an hour before in order to make sure that we're going to take advantage of the flight to its fullest. And after we finish the briefing and everything is clear to the student what we're going to do, we will go to the aircraft and start doing a walk around, an exterior inspection to see if the aircraft is worthy to fly. And a typical start would be to get the clearance from ATC to be allowed to start the engines. The student would taxi the aircraft to the holding point where we would do some engine checks, and with the proper takeoff clearance we would take off, fly for about an hour, depending on the stage of the student, flying visual or flying on instruments only. And after the flight, we go down, back to school, to the briefing room, and discuss what happened during the flight, goals that have been met, objectives that were not succeeded, and discussing what could have done better in order for the next flight to. When the student is getting ready to fly by himself without an instructor, he starts feeling comfortable with the aircraft. Normally, he realizes that he is getting there, and therefore starts asking the instructor how he's doing. After making sure that it's completely safe to let him fly solo, so the student is even able to react in case of any emergency, the instructor will let him know that one of the following days he might start flying the aircraft by himself. When the instructor sees that the student is actually fully ready after making a few landings, he will make an intermediate stop, stepping outside of the aircraft, wishing the student good luck and have great fun. And the student will taxi out by himself for the very first time without the instructor on board, taking off, making a few touch and goes, landings, and taking off again before making another full stop landing, where he will be awaited by many of his fellow students that will congratulate him. Okay. When the student gets back from his very first solo flight, his classmates are waiting for him to congratulate him, together with all the instructors that are at that moment available to shake his hand. When the student is getting ready for certain stages of flight, for example, if the student is going to be finishing the CPL stage, he's ready to fly with an examiner to prove that he is a commercial pilot. We are actually simulating an exam before the actual flight with the examiner. He will fly with another instructor, which is not his own, and the other instructor is going to check whether the student is really ready, fully ready, prepared for the actual flight exam. So the student will already have some form of feeling that he is going to be examined. After the internal check, if the second instructor that graded him gives the okay, the student normally is fully ready for the official exam, and he will be scheduled for the exam normally the following day with a real official examiner from the authority. When he finished that flight successfully, the examiner will hand over the commercial pilot license, and from that moment on, the student is allowed to fly on a single engine aircraft. From that moment on, he will start with the multi-engine phase of the flight course and will start flying on the Piper Senecas.